Hi, this is Michael, and I want to thank Cowsar for sending me the 15-bar espresso machine so that I can show you how it works and give you my impressions. Here's the front panel. There is on the left the on-off button, then the next button is the grinding bean button, single or double shot buttons, and on the side we have the dial that goes between hot water or steam production. There's the steam wand. It's got a very nice stainless steel drip tray and stainless steel back plate there. And the rest of the machine, the sides are plastic, very durable. The drip tray has a float in it to alert you when it is time to empty it. And hidden inside are some tools that you'll need at some point during the operation of this machine, and I'll talk about those a little bit later. Overall, it's a very nice machine. It has an all-metal portafilter. You get a single basket, which you can see there, a very nice metal tamper, and also a stainless steel frothing pitcher. This is the water tank, and as I'll explain later, there is a red plug that you need to pull out in order to start operating this. Make sure you pull that out. Now you've got your brand new Cowsar espresso machine. It's out of the box on your counter and you're just itching to get started. Well, there's a few things you need to do first. First of all, you need to remove all the protective coverings and tape that are holding everything together. So you've got that piece of tape on the drip tray, and then on the water reservoir in the back here, there's a couple more pieces of tape. Just remove those. Spin the machine around, and we're going to remove the water reservoir. We're going to rinse the water reservoir with warm water, and then before the first use, you also need to remove the small red plug on the bottom. Very important, you do not forget to do that. Once you've rinsed this, you're going to fill it with filtered water, clean filtered water, ideally. Next thing you're going to have to do is fill your bean hopper with some freshly roasted beans, and I recommend you go to a local coffee roaster to get the most fresh beans possible, but if you can't do that, you can go to any store and buy whole beans. You never ever want to put ground coffee in the bean hopper, only whole beans. Once you've filled your water reservoir to the fill line, spin the machine around. You're going to need a cup for the next step, so make sure you have a cup. You're going to push the on-off button, and that is going to turn the machine on. It's going to start preheating the insides, and we're also going to turn the knob on the side here to the hot water position. Want to move the steam wand off to the right a little bit and put your cup underneath it, and then we're going to go over to the side here. We're going to move the knob over here on the right to the hot water position. This knob has two positions, either hot water or steam. This is going to allow the machine to flush out all the internal piping to make sure it's ready for your first espresso. When the knob is turned to the other position, it heats up the water even further and then lets you make your steam for frothing your milk. Once you've done that, you can remove your cup. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the portafilter on the machine. And we're going to just push either the single or the double shot button. You can put your cup back under there. And this is just going to run, again, hot water to clean all the internal piping and the portafilter itself. There we go. Now we're all ready to start making our first espresso. Once you've used the machine a few times, you will need to empty the drip tray, and that is accomplished simply by pulling it out, removing the top, going over to your sink and just pouring out any water that might have collected. Also hidden in the back here are your cleaning tools. You have a little brush here that you can use to clean, and also you can use this to clean the grinder. And then on the other side is this small tool that has two small pins on it. The pins are used to clean the tip of the steam wand, which may get clogged up at some point in time. when not in use, you can just put this right back in. Also, you will notice occasionally as you're moving things around that some water will collect in here. Just make sure you always keep that dry underneath the drip tray. You don't want to have any mold developing under there. Put everything back together. Now we're getting to the fun part. Go to a local coffee roaster. While I was recently in Kansas City, I went to a place called The Roastery and got some freshly roasted coffee. Oh, it smells so good. Just pour some of those whole beans into the hopper. Close it. Now the hopper can turn, and this is how you determine what level of fineness of grind you want. I don't know exactly, you have to dial it in. Every different type of bean is going to grind a little differently. So maybe you have this set for 10 for your espresso grind. Maybe you get a different bean next week, and you may need to move this up or down depending on the bean. Each bean requires its own little, trial before you find out the perfect grind. But we're going to try it at a 10 to start off. I've got the double basket in here. Just insert it down below and then push this button to begin your grinding. Usually as it starts to fill up, I wiggle it a little bit just to get a nice even level of coffee in there. And then I give it a tap, and then I use the tamper. Give it a nice even pressure. I rotate it slightly, and that's what you should end up with. You don't want the coffee all the way to the top. You need a little bit of room here, otherwise the screen that's inside here will press, and you don't want that to happen. Insert it, give it about a quarter turn. Get your espresso cup, put it right underneath the spouts, and we're making a double espresso, so just push that double espresso button. This is the pressure gauge here. You want to make sure your pressure gets into the optimal range here. If it's not in that optimal range there, you're just not going to get the optimum pull. Now certain beans will develop more crema than other beans. This coffee here has got a nice amount of crema, and let me give it a little taste. Oh man, that is so good. So that is a quick look at your espresso machine. Once you remove the portafilter from the machine, if you notice this, that means you've got too much coffee in there and it was pressing against the screen. So you just want to make sure you reduce the amount of coffee a little bit the next time you make it. Now, it is very simple method to determine how much coffee is being ground each time. In order to change that setting, what you do is you press and hold the grinding button with the portafilter in the basket underneath there, of course. It'll beep. After a few seconds, it'll beep and start grinding. And then you just need to keep track of how many seconds it operates. And then when you release it, it will beep again and it'll retain that setting. So that's how you dial in how much coffee will be ground each time. Now what I do is I want to measure 18 grams of coffee. So I actually put a scale right underneath like that. And then I get my cup, I zero everything out, I tear it out. And then I press this button and I'm watching the scale the whole time. As soon as it gets to about 16, then I let go of the button because I know there's going to be a slight delay, and that'll give me about 18 grams of coffee. So that's the way I do it. But you can do it just by eyeballing it as well. The most important thing is you don't want to get so much coffee in there that you end up looking like that. That means you've got too much coffee. To make our froth, we just need to get some cold, fresh milk. You can use whole milk, 2% skim milk. You can even use nut-based milks like almond milk. Ideally, I just feel whole milk gives you the best quality froth, but you can also use skim milk if that's your preference. You want to fill the milk till it's right below the spout level down there. It's about halfway full. And then we've got to turn the knob here to the steam mode. Move this over to the hole here so when the steam comes out, it'll go right into your drip tray. It's going to take a few seconds here, maybe 20 seconds or so, for the heater inside to heat up to the steam level. A little bit of water will come out first. Once it's only steam, you can turn it off, spin it around, and then insert your tip underneath the milk so that the tip is completely immersed in the milk. You want to tip the milk pitcher. You want to eventually get the milk to swirl around inside. As you're holding the milk pitcher, it'll slowly start to warm up. When it gets so warm that it's uncomfortable to hold it anymore, that's just about the right temperature. Once you hear the tone change, that means the microbubbles are starting to foam. And you want to start slowly pulling the milk pitcher down, but you still want the very end of the tip to be in the milk. We don't want big bubbles, we want small bubbles. And the volume should pretty much double. All right, so this is getting pretty hot here. The next thing you want to do is have a clean rag handy, because you want to wipe off this tip as soon as you are done. So I'll put this aside. I've got a rag here. We want to just clean the milk off of there. You don't want to let the milk dry in there. It's very hard to remove. And then you want to clear that with more steam. And that's it. Now I tap this usually to get any big bubbles out. And I'll get my espresso here. I'm just going to put a little bit of foam right on the top here. I'm no artist, but there we go. And that's how easy it is. So that's a look at the Cowsar espresso machine. I hope you found this helpful, and I hope you enjoy all your great espressos, lattes, cappuccinos, whatever you decide to make with this. Have a great day.